Alright, haulers, hello and welcome back to Euro Truck Simulator 2. So we're here in Lublin, I'm assuming Lublin, Poland. We're where we left off. It's been a couple of days, been busy with work and stuff here. Checked in with our other driver, he's doing very well, bringing in pretty good cash for each drop. But still a long ways to go in terms of getting him trained, but we're starting to really, I would think we're at like 60,000 euros, and we have like 350,000 left in debt. So not bad. But, of course, it's raining, so we're here sitting in the truck rather than being outside. Today we are picking up some train undercarriage pieces, like the dolly. I don't remember what they're called, like the dollies that basically the train sits on itself. Those weigh in about 20 tons, and those are going from here in Lublin to Katowice in Poland. That should bring us about 10,000 euros. It's needed by today around 7:40 or 19:40, and I'm guessing we'll probably get there sometime between 4 and 5 or 1600 or 1700 hours. But yeah, let's go ahead, let's get the truck started up. Flick our lights on, get everything turned on here so we know where we're going, and let's go ahead and let's get rolling here. So yeah, I'm very excited for this trip. I like trains. I've been a huge fan of trains for a long time. We had the opportunity to haul one, like an actual proper train, but I had to go ahead and turn it down simply because I'm not sure our truck could handle that weight, and it wasn't worth the risk in my opinion. We're just gonna come right across into this lane. I don't normally like doing that, but because it's such a small gap between the intersections, I don't think there was much else I could have done. But yeah, no, I'm a huge train fan. I used to do what's known as rail fanning, which, oh, come on, truck, which basically involves me going out to various locations with a camera, and that's how I got my start. Was I would film trains. I'm gonna go ahead and grab this trailer and we'll come back to that story in just a minute. Alright, just got done filling out the paperwork. Here's our trailer down here at the ends. Go ahead and we'll back into it. Just a standard flatbed trailer here, nothing fancy. We'll go ahead, we'll get hooked up, and then when we hit the road, I'll get into that story a little bit more. I'm trying to ease it back this time so I don't miss, hopefully. Though I think I have by just a little bit. Nope, right on. Perfect. Feels good to actually hit that right this time. Last time I was kind of out of it and was struggling, but this time all seems to be well. Are we good and hooked up? We are. Let's go ahead and let's get rolling here. Very nice. Alright, well, so back to my story. So I actually got my start at doing a couple of things on YouTube. I didn't have a computer. So when I was younger, the first thing I got, like, I used to be huge into photography, I still am, and with that came a camera. My family got me a camera, like just a little Kodak camera one year. Nothing special, not even a DSLR. Like, and that's not to, like, shame them, that's I was a kid, whatever. But it was huge to me because it gave me the opportunity to go out and get pictures and do that sort of thing that I wanted to do. We'll get out here on the road. And I really quite enjoyed doing that, especially when I got more into weather, started properly storm chasing and doing that sort of stuff. That was huge to me. So with that camera, the second thing that I bought for myself was a tripod, which took me forever to get. And so I decided that, you know, something that I did for a long time on YouTube, a lot of the stuff I still enjoy watching is content about trains. There's a few people. There's actually a channel on here called Virtual Railfan. You can actually watch tracks live and kind of see trains as they pass through and stuff like that, and that's very cool to me. That's something that if I'm working and I just want like ambient noise or something, I'll put that on in the background and just listen to it and see what comes through and stuff like that. But there's a few people, one of them, like one of the people I fell in love with, his name is Ron Roberts, I believe. He does recordings of emergency vehicles here in the US. I don't know about other countries, I don't remember. And like them responding, stuff like that. There's a couple of people, I think Cobra Emergency, something like that. He has like global videos and stuff. So I get to learn as someone who was on the fire department for a couple of years, actually on 2 different departments. I get to kind of learn about how things work in the other countries and see the equipment, and just, it's something I've always loved. I'm a fan of vehicles just in general and transportation, which kind of explains why I'm sitting here right now doing this. But alongside, like, it was like emergency vehicles, there's a few channels that do construction vehicles, there's a lot of train channels, a lot of those people. And I was in love with that when I was younger, and that's what I originally wanted to do here on YouTube, was get out and videotape that. So whenever I could, whenever I heard a siren, whenever I saw anything, I immediately whipped out the camera if I had it on me and tried to record. I live in Maine, so there's not a lot of trains here. There was one called the Maine Eastern, which I loved growing up. For me, it was a treat getting to see that train. It's one of the old scenic route trains here in Maine. And because of where I lived, we didn't have any trains near us. We used to travel to a city here in Maine called Brunswick, which had like, at the time it was the Naval Air Station, so I used to be able to see the military planes coming in and out. It's where we go to see like the air shows with the Blue Angels or anyone like that. But in Brunswick, there's an Amtrak station. It was the northernmost station at that time, and I think it still is for now. But when you got off Amtrak, you got onto the Maine Eastern. And the Maine Eastern owned this scenic railroad that was kind of up through Mid-Coast and those areas of Maine. It was a scenic railroad, so it wasn't like, they didn't specifically make it so that if you got off Amtrak, you would meet up with that train every time. There was potential for delays and stuff. Amtrak arrived and left when it could, and the Maine Eastern did the same thing. They didn't always meet up on dime and stuff like that. Maine Eastern was also responsible for some freight on that line, I believe, too. And I'll put in a few pictures kind of as I go along here of the trains. This last year or the year before, Maine Eastern lost their contract or whatever they had. I don't remember what it was. I believe it was a bid with the state, with the transportation association, whatever it is in the state. And the engines and the coaches and all that equipment ended up going back to, I believe it was their owners in New Jersey. And that to me was the saddest thing in the world, because the one thing I've wanted to do since I was a kid was be able to ride that train, and I never got that opportunity. I got to see it all the time, I got to be right next to it, but never did I ever get to ride that up here in Maine while it was in action. So that forever to me will be one of the missed opportunities that kind of I regret. I know I didn't have much control over the fact of not being able to do it, but it really sucks. It really hurt me for a while, because it's my passion. It's something I really enjoy. Aviation. I love aviation too. That's why I do all of this stuff. But yeah, so like I was saying, I got into rail fanning and filming trains and stuff like that, and so I started doing that on YouTube. Oh buddy, oh buddy, oh buddy. Really, dude? Are you that impatient? God damn. But I ended up posting only a few videos, and none of them are in good quality, of Amtrak trains and stuff like that. For me, it was an event. Really? Holy crap. People are so impatient today on this road. I don't understand that. Some people, I guess, just drives me nuts. But, yeah, I only posted a few videos of trains. I didn't really do too much with it, because obviously I was in school at the time, in high school and middle school. Dude, come on. Just pass me, for Christ's sake. Okay, you're gonna brake check me? Are you serious? What the shit is happening? That is ridiculous. But, oh god, I don't know what to do with these drivers. I'm waiting for this other guy behind me to try and race me. If he does, it's gonna end badly with this traffic. But yeah, I don't know. I've always enjoyed that. So hauling these train carriages is kind of awesome for me. And also because like I've always like I play Euro Truck. I'm a huge fan of the UK and kind of learning about Europe and stuff like that. To me, the UK is clearly like the most relatable thing because they speak English, they do things very similar to us, you know, and they also have different methods of going about things that I think the US could really take some notes on. I believe it's the UK, like with the drug advertising or things like that I think. I was just watching, I listen to the Off Topic podcast. I don't listen to it, just listen to it. I also watch it. But I think this guy's letting me go. Thank you, dude. We'll get out of his way. But I've been a huge fan of Achievement Hunter and Rooster Teeth for a long time, but they post the Off Topic podcast, and it's the most do not watch this with your parents type of stuff in the world. But they were literally the most recent podcast. I was just listening to it, and they were talking about that. Oh, I just had a stroke too and forgot what it was. I was distracted by that guy stopping. People aren't usually courteous or anything like that, so. What was I talking about? See, this is the problem with recording too, is I get distracted by anything. I lose my... It was the UK... drunk driving advertisements. So, in the UK, I think it's the UK, they'll... If you see a do not drink and drive thing, it's like, you see it and you go, oh shit, and you know, people die and this stuff and that. And here in the US, it's just like, oh, you were drinking, oh, don't do that, you know, whatever. It's never like, there's nothing serious. Like, the most serious thing I've ever seen is when they do like the exhibitions at high schools, like the mock car crashes. People just don't seem to understand that, you know, drinking, driving, texting, driving, distracted driving is just not a good habit. And I don't know. I think that's one of the things that America could really take a note on when it comes to, you know, advertising or things that we do here. Oh, I thought I got a ticket. But yeah, I don't know. And I really enjoy, you know, UK stuff. For a while, I got into television, like UK television, stuff like that. One of my favorite shows for a little while was a show called Mock the Week. They did, you know, the Big Fat Quiz of the Year. That was something I got into. Just on YouTube, just finding stuff on YouTube that, you know, I know shouldn't be there, but it gives me an insight into, you know, what people are watching over there. And it seems like, in some ways, European TV, when it comes to, like, their shows and stuff, is a little more real about things. There's a little bit less bullshittery, I think. And one of the shows that I've been watching is... I found this channel called Real Responders, and I don't know much about it. It doesn't have much for content on it, but they have a series called The Motorway, like keeping things running or something like that. I don't remember, but it covers kind of the M6 and some of the motorways, and some of the content on there is really well done. And I think it really goes to show, like, how people there treat the highways and the one thing, anytime I see a documentary about driving or something like that, especially if it's talking about highway maintenance, it's like, you realize how impatient people are, and you learn, at least in my case, you know, it teaches you to kind of sit back and say, okay, this is what other people are dealing with. You know, I don't really need to do this or this or this. I'm like, there's ways that I can be a better human. But it feels to me like some people see that stuff and just go, this is bullshit. I don't need to listen to this. It's just sad to me that that's the case. But on the subject of TV shows and documentaries, like, I'm the level of rail fan that, like, I have 2 purchases on my YouTube account for movies and shows. 2, that's it. One of them is a Smithsonian thing about, what is it? Smithsonian, like, it's a 5-part series or something like that about, I believe it's about Heathrow, talking about the airport and how things run. And then the Alaskan Railroad. They had a TV show for a while that I really quite enjoyed. I don't actually have TV. I had TV, like, we didn't have TV for like 4 years. We got it for less than a year, didn't really want it anymore, I got rid of it, and kind of everything I do is through Netflix or Hulu or YouTube. Most of the content I consume is on YouTube. It's kind of becoming a little bit less and less now that I'm posting more and having to spend more time doing that. But I think YouTube is a huge tool for all this stuff, and there's so many good channels that you can just learn and just ingest information. If you guys have any in particular you think I should check out, leave them in the comments below. I mean, I love, like, Wendover Productions does some awesome stuff. By far my favorite channel when it comes to very cleanly put together videos is Mustard. They do a lot with aircraft and transportation docks, and their videos are so clean and so well done. I'm a car guy too. If I want to see a car video, lately it's been Donut's been putting out some amazing content. There's just so many good places now that you can go watch stuff. I seriously recommend checking some of these out. But yeah, I'm all around a transportation guy. I really just enjoy anything that moves. I don't know why. I've been that way since I was little. I mean, I was that kid that when I was very, very young, we had, like, carpet that was kind of like, it had a pattern that was like crossing over itself, and I would pretend it was a road. I have no shame in that. I was a fucking kid. But I used to do that all the time. I loved that. I remember, like, losing my mind when I got one of those carpets that had the actual roadways and stuff on it. To this day, I still have some of the old, like, little toy cars that I had when I was little. I have them all boxed up. I have tons of, like, Legos and stuff, because I always got, like, the transportation, like, Lego City transportation kits. That was big for me for a long time. I'm not the most exciting person in the world, that's for sure, but still, it was all the stuff that I really enjoyed. I still enjoy it, too. I know this, Lego's been one of the things that I've really wanted to get back into lately, and I don't know why, I just have that urge to build and just do stuff. I think Lego itself is a great way to have something that you know no matter what, at least most of the time, you're going to accomplish whatever goal you want. But it's nice to just sit down, have to think, have to use your brain to achieve something, and have an outcome that's successful. I think that's part of it, is with Lego, if you buy and build the kit right off the bat, like for me, I was huge into buying a bunch of kits and then customizing a single thing out of those kits. I usually would build the thing that it was meant to be once, take a picture of it, and then just take as many pieces from all kinds of other kits as I could. Why is my truck not going? Come on. But I would just mishmash stuff together, make my own vehicles, do that sort of thing, and I really enjoyed that. But if you build the kit as it's supposed to be, you're gonna achieve whatever that thing is built or is meant to be. You're gonna be able to build it. And I think for a lot of people, that's a good feeling, being able to actually accomplish something. I know for me, it's a good feeling. I know if I'm typically struggling, if I'm trying to find motivation, I'll take one little task that I needed to get done that I've been struggling with and just focus on it for a little while and just knock it out. And as soon as I do that, I get a little boost from it. And I don't know what it is. It's like, for me, like if my desktop is cluttered or something like that, then I tend to struggle focusing wise. Like if I'm trying to record a video and I've got shit strewn everywhere or something simple like that, I really, really struggle. It's a distraction to me. And I've struggled with distractions since I was little, so that's big for me. But if I knock that out and, I get done cleaning, then, hey, I've got this little boost of energy. I can focus on what I need to focus on, and I've accomplished something. That's a start, right? And that's coming from someone who, I hate cleaning. I have hated it since I was little, and I think most everyone else does too. I know some people like it. I like doing it if I'm just like, I love to sit back and put on a podcast and just like zone out. I just clean and zone out. That's what I end up doing. It ends up being like super, super productive too. And that for me was weird because coming back to the whole podcast thing we discussed earlier, for a long time, I didn't really take podcasts seriously. I mean, I've listened to the Rooster Teeth podcast itself for, years and years and years at this point. There's just crossed, 10 years or something like that? I don't remember. I don't think it's 10 years, but it's been around for a fair portion of time, that's for sure. And I've listened to that, for years and years, like I said. But other than that, I didn't really listen to anything else. So, once I kind of got into Off Topic, like they started their thing, they've got their other show, Always Open, which is Barbara from Rooster Teeth. That's her show. And as a guy, I really enjoy the show. I think it's a great way to get advice. I've had a couple of guy friends kind of give me shit for watching it, calling it a girl show, but I don't think that's the case. I think it's a great way to kind of learn little things here and there, because, little things about social interactions or stuff like that, or understanding other people's thoughts better. And it's oftentimes pretty funny. One of my favorite recent episodes of theirs was with, I believe his name was Nolan North. They have a couple of voice people. I don't remember what the title is. I'm sorry for that. But I really enjoyed that episode. And that was a while ago, I think, at this point, too. But outside of that, I don't know if that's technically a podcast. It's more of a show, I guess. But it's something that I can typically put on in the background and just listen to, which is awesome. I don't really know of any other podcasts that I listen to. I think that's mostly it. Trying to think. Not Film Riot. That's a good channel. Go check them out if you're into any sort of filming stuff. But there's another filmmaker channel, and they do a podcast. I don't remember what the name of it is, but I enjoy that. Oh, Matt Diavella. There's a creator on YouTube, and his name is Matt Diavella, and he's what's known as a minimalist, and he does a lot of content around minimalism and a lot of content about bettering yourself and kind of, come on, turn signal, about being kind of a better human. And his content has been huge in kind of keeping me motivated and helping me kind of learn things about myself that I was afraid to kind of dig into. For a long time, I was a very closed off person. It took me a long time to kind of realize, I've been through some shit that I didn't realize ate away at me, and I had to kind of come to terms with it. And I finally did, and so I've become a little more open about myself and trying to be a better human and just do things in a better way. And that his podcast has been huge, and I don't remember what the name of it is, so forgive me. But I would check him out just on YouTube in general anyways, because it's so worth just checking him out and just listening to some of what they have to say. And I don't necessarily agree. Oftentimes I'll listen to him and I don't agree with things that, the RT podcast says or stuff like that. But it's nice to hear other people's thoughts, other people's opinions, and kind of be able to form your own with some kind of understanding of others. You know what I mean? It's hard to explain. Go ahead. I didn't realize we were so close. We're just going to go ahead and back in. I guess there's no time lapse this episode, which is kind of a nice change. I want to try this out, see how this works, doing it kind of all at once. I'm gonna focus here for just a second so I can get this lined up. I think I'm off to one side a little too much. I think I just screwed it up. Nope. We're good. I'm gonna pull forward a little though. And we're gonna back in again. Just so I'm straight here. Perfect. Alright. Go ahead and let's get this thing unloaded. But we'll come down here and we'll park for the day. But yeah, overall I think that went pretty smooth. I think that was the nicest video, or not nicest video, nicest trip I've had in the video so far. Didn't time-lapse it this time, so kind of unusual for me, but it was nice to sit back and chat and just, yeah, talk to you guys. I don't get to do that very often, because I've kind of been rushing. I'm hoping to kind of put a little more time and effort into this stuff. Right now, my main focus is the consistency with a certain level of quality, and then as time goes on, I hope to just kind of learn and improve that quality and get better at what I'm doing. We're going to park off here at service, because I think I'm going to get the truck looked at. This turn signal, that's why. This turn signal doesn't want to turn off anymore, and I don't know why. We'll have to check that out. But we'll go ahead and we'll park here. I want to park all the way at the end, so we'll pull forward a little bit. I do kind of wonder if they'll add in a white noise reverser at some point. That would be a pretty cool option, I think. Alright, we'll go ahead and let's shut her down. But yeah, that's going to do it for this episode. If you guys enjoyed it, go ahead and leave a like. If you didn't, you know what to do. If you really, really liked it, go ahead and hit the subscribe button. If you really, really, really liked it, there's a little bell next to that subscribe button that you can press on that will notify you every single time I upload. And yeah, if you guys have any podcasts, channels, things you want me to check out, leave them down in the comments below. Obviously, don't spam or be that kind of person, because I won't look at it. But just be respectful, do your thing, and yeah. I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace.